Hola, mi amigos. ¿Cómo estás? Mi amo es Nima, and I have a cool game to talk about today. It's called Kingdom 80s. Wait, you thought I was going to keep up the Spanish? Yeah, I'm not that good yet. Working on it, though. Tire review done in Spanish. It's a goal. Anyway, I've been playing Kingdom 80s for the last 3 days. The most impressive part about that is I've been playing it at 5-hour chunks. Like, it's one of those games where you sit down to play it, and it's like 10 p.m., and before I know it, it's 3 a.m. I don't know how this game does it, but it definitely has this time machine factor to it. It's a different game than any game I've played, well, probably ever, honestly. It's a 2D macro strategy game that has some really great pixel art. While this game and its mechanics are quite simple, the story, while charming and nostalgic, is quite basic, honestly. Even down to the characters' names. Like your character, his name is Leader. You find a sports type guy, and his name is Champ. Tinker is the girl who can fix things, and she's the mechanical one. And rounding off the party is Wiz, a computer whiz. And of course, you got Mom and Dad. These are the names of all the characters that you pretty much run into. Now, even though the game sounds rudimentary, some of the strategy can be a bit complex, and it also has this element of exploration to it. So the game starts off with you at summer camp. An apparition of some form shows up and gives you a crown. Tells you that you're part of a lineage of rulers, essentially. You're the only one that can save the world, and this crown is paramount. Now, you're kind of confused, but you can tell that the environment is already set in with some sort of miasma. And this little apparition takes you on a little tutorial and gives you the basics of the game. You do learn that the most important thing in this game is gold. Not only to your progress, but also to the enemies as well, as they're very attracted to shiny gold. They try to raid your camp usually once a night, trying to steal your gold and your crown. Now, the most important thing for you to do is to set up barriers. And the best way to do this is take out your comically large Mario coin and buy a person. And that's right, every kid will join your ragtag army with just one gold coin, which I guess would be worth it if it's really gold. But I digress. You have them build your barriers, expand your borders, and even don weapons for you, as well as fix stuff that's broken and do chores for you. All of this generates an income, and you pretty much just go around like some weird version of the Monopoly Man, buying people and having them build junk. It's really easy because there's a certain amount that is required for a project to be done, and all you have to do is pop in that many gold coins. Usually it starts off at 1 and goes to 3 and eventually can be like 20, but it's pretty simple. In fact, there's only 3 buttons you really use in this entire game. The left and right triggers do the same thing, which is pretty much like a speed burst or a special trick or ability that you gain. You start off with a bike, and that allows you to kind of pedal faster. But I will say this, you keep at it, you will get a DeLorean, which can leave a trail of fire behind you. The other button is your Scrooge McDuck button, which just throws out coins or grabs coins or whatever with coins. That's just a button. And then the analog stick. That's really all the controls that you have in this game, and you don't really need anything more than that. What really is important, though, is how you move your army, how you progress to expand your borders, what resources you're collecting, what characters you're using. You see, I discovered early on to have about 3 to 4 archers for every 1 builder. And if you're thinking, oh, there's too many units, that's confusing. No, that's it. Just like builders and archers. That's your only 2 units. Now, as the game progresses and you move on in levels, this ratio changes and you actually get some pretty cool firepower that I wouldn't say makes archers obsolete, but just not as important. But that's it. That's the entire game, really. And you explore, you try to find pieces. You have to do different requirements to move the story forward. And I will say, like, for me, that was the only thing that at a couple times in the game kind of tripped me up. I wasn't really sure what to do to move the game forward, but I just kept exploring and having fun with that, and eventually figured it out. Nothing was really that difficult, and honestly, I could say that I probably took 15 hours with the game, but so much of it was just like exploring and doing stuff I probably didn't need to do, and I could have moved on quite a bit earlier. Ultimately, I think that this game is around like that 10-hour mark, but there is an endless mode, and you can play the campaign again in different difficulties if you like. I know personally, I found like a lot of joy in this world, and I don't know why. I think it's just like, I don't have the nostalgia because I wasn't really living in the 80s, but it did take me back to my college days when me and my friends would quote-unquote relax with a little bit of herbal supplements and watch 80s movies. It was like so cool. I don't know why, but that, Stranger Things mixed in, and that's this game's environment. Like, that's just the feel, the vibes of this game, and I really did enjoy it. Not to mention the fact that it's pretty cheap. Like, $11.99 for, seriously, an engrossing game. It will take over you for about 10 hours or so. And it's just a lot of fun. And it's kind of funny because I went from excited about this game, and then I read a review or two, or I saw something. I think JP on Good Talk did something about it, and he didn't really seem too amped about it. I thought, oh, maybe I'm not, I don't know, getting it. Maybe I'm just looking at the pretty pictures and the backgrounds, because that is one thing. The backgrounds of this game and the environments, they are amazing. They're beautiful, especially at night. You have like party lights on as you expand your borders, and then you can see everything in the background as well as you kind of chop through this miasma and this forest and stuff, and you really just show more and more beautiful backgrounds and environments. But I thought maybe it was just eye candy and it wasn't that cool. But again, for like $11.99, and since it had caught my eye and I'd been interested in it, I figured it was worth the risk, and it definitely was. I really enjoyed it. It makes me want to play this genre more. In fact, I would go more into like this macro strategy type game than roguelikes all the time. I don't know, it's just something different. It really just shook things up, and I've really enjoyed that kind of gaming lately, so it really just hit where I needed it to, essentially. It really scratched that itch, because I've been playing roguelites and RPGs, and that's pretty much it. So having something different also really just hit the spot, and like I said, it's very accessible. It's very easy to understand. It's not over complex. I was kind of worried about that when I first started it, and yet at the same time, there's definitely some strategy that has to go into your movements, what type of units you use, how often. I don't want to give anything away, but there are times when you want to set up some proper defense before you try to gain resources or even set up a border. And you want to do that just because of the attacks that come in. And there can be some that are almost like boss-like, and those in itself are pretty cool. But I would say the coolest is actually when you get to the point where you can raid the enemies, the monsters, and you go into like their labyrinth caves, which are pretty much straightforward. It's 2D, like I said. It's left to right. That's your options. And you go in there, and it's just like, it looks like another world. There's all this like miasma and sludge, and you take the fight to them. It's like a real march, because you got Champ who's pushing a gigantic trash can. That's kind of like the barrier that you guys move as your archers are shooting the enemies coming at you. And it's just kind of fun. It puts you in that spot of being like a general of some sort. But I don't know. That's just my thoughts on it. I really actually liked it. I was kind of taken back by how much I liked it. But I'd definitely give this game an 8.5 out of 10. It's well worth your time. And it's cool to see some of these Kingdom games come over to the Switch. So let me know if you've played some of the Kingdom games, because there's a ton of them I've looked into. The 80s is the only one I saw for the Switch. There might be others. I may not have looked far enough, but let me know if you've played any of them, even if they're for the PC or whatever. I'm really curious if this game is on par with the other ones, or if this one's different. Anything and everything, though, let me know if you're interested in getting this game. Let me know if you're excited about Mario Wonder, because I'm sure by the time this comes out, me and my son are going to be playing Mario Wonder. Anyway, take care, everyone. Love y'all. Bye-bye.